I don't think it's a question of candidates.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to go in a second, so I just wanted to chime in and say one last thing before I have to bounce, Don. And thank you so much for having me. Just a couple of last thoughts is that I think what Anna said about trying and what Abe said about trying to all make sure that we rally during good times or bad to create the future we want. That's essential. It's very important. We have to do that and never rest on our laurels. But I also think no matter how tonight shakes down, it seems clear it's going to be too close for comfort regardless. And if things end in a way we don't want or in a way we do and it's close, I just hope we don't write it off to, again, being simply about messaging, because Richard always speaks beautifully about how the messaging from the left is weak and is not as effective, even though the issues that the left fights for are what the vast majority of the country wants. But it's not just that. It also is that I think it has become where we are on the left too soft. We're on the left too soft with putting hard lines in the sand, with not letting the wind carry us to whatever opinion needs to be carried. I think the example of the Harris campaign putting completely opposite ads about Israel and Palestine on the air, depending what neighborhood, does not speak well. That's not the hard opinion and definitive leadership that you see oftentimes from the right, and certainly not from Trump, who's, again, we don't need to keep saying how psycho he is, but he also is very definitive and not afraid to put lines in the sand. And we need to, I think, develop a little bit more of a backbone and not be afraid to offend. We have to stand for what we stand for. We have to stand for what we believe in, but also not just be pulled to whatever demographic or whatever moment wants us to be pulled out of fear of not losing people. I don't think you win elections or lead nations to greatness by leading out of fear. You have to have a very firm set of values that you can listen, you can adjust, but you can't blow around like the wind takes you and expect to inspire great confidence in people that you have a vision for the future.
Yeah, I just, Ben, thanks for your comments. I know you have to go. I have to step off in a minute too. I couldn't disagree more. I think it's completely unfair to say that she didn't have a backbone because she was inclusive and tried to build a you have to do to win a democratic election. And I'll just say that, the United States is not alone. There are like a half a dozen nations around the world that have gravitated towards
if not more
authoritarian kinds of leaders, if not more. You look at Meloni in Italy. You look at what Le Pen has almost done in France. You look at what's happened, all over Southeast Asia. It is a human condition that people are drawn to autocrats. And that's not because the good guys, the people who support democracy, didn't have their messaging together. It's because through the history of the world, there has always been, this kind of pull towards autocracy. In a world where we're also putting an autocrat up against a woman, all of the sort of gender bias around what do we think means a strong leader, there are still lots of people in this country who think that only a man looks like a leader. I was on a show with Newt Gingrich the other day who said Kamala Harris doesn't look like a leader. So the night is not over. We have not seen the answer yet. But I think it's not fair to lay all of this at the feet of somebody who was trying to bring the country together at a time when a lot of forces have been working, including foreign actors, to tear us apart. So Don, I love you. It's been a great night.
I agree, Lauren. I just want to reply to that quickly. I agree with some of what you're saying. I'm not saying Kamala Harris doesn't have a backbone. I'm just saying we can't keep living in a reality where we wish people were different than they are, where, just like you said, there is a pull towards autocratic leaders. There is a pull towards for some reason, fascism is attractive, so we can keep on acting as though that's not the case and hoping, or we can just be more strategic. We can be a little tougher on certain issues, and we can make sure that we win the future more consistently, so we don't constantly have this ping-ponging between what obviously is better values to lead a nation evolving into the future and pulling us regressively into the past. There needs to be strategy and very smart politics that make sure you win that if it has to be a bit slower at times to make sure you win consistently rather than swinging so far and trying to please everybody, which sometimes I think the Democrats do. The Republicans aren't afraid to piss people off. They aren't afraid to put their line in the sand for the issues that they care about and let the chips fall where they may. And I think that aspect of it inspires people, like you said, like you admitted that people are drawn to that kind of strong leadership. So whether it's a man or a woman, I just think we can take some lessons from that into the future.
Well, I'm not sure the lesson is to make all our leaders become like autocrats. I would not vote for anybody who starts to behave like Trump. So I know, but that's kind of where we get left. So I hear you. I appreciate it. It's been a great night, Don. I have to leave. Love you. Wait.
You're muted, Don.
Yeah, no, I'm not muted.
We got you back.
It's just